welcome to the Shut Up and Ride podcast. I can hear birds tweeting somewhere in the background. We have two guests on today. I'm not going to introduce them just yet. We are, of course, sponsored by Charles Owen, but I'm very excited because we have a Simon back from his hen do. We have Simey. How are you doing, Simey? Are you all sunned and beautiful?
Yeah, I'm feeling recharged, ready to go again. So, yeah, thank you very much. I'm very sad to miss the last pod, though, because that sounds like it was really, really good. I've not listened to it yet, but I'm going to. But it sounds like it's going to be fantastic, or was fantastic.
It was fantastic. Do you know what you can do, Simon Groove? You can go back and listen to it wherever your podcasts are available.
Amazing. Thanks so much for letting me know.
I know, we're good. Is this going to be the first time ever, Simon Groove, we've recorded a podcast where you're not tired?
Oh, no, I'm still tired. Yeah, I'm still whinge about being tired. It was quite a long journey back, and then I went to Royal Ascot as well, and then we had a long day there, and I'm still tired, so it's fine.
One of our guests is laughing.
Nothing has changed.
Because she knows what you're like. I'm very pleased that we finally have got on the podcast to talk all things British eventing. It's the wonderful Tina Wallace and the brilliant CEO, nonetheless, that's a very important title, of British eventing, Rosie Williams. Guys, welcome to the podcast. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks very much.
First of all, I'll introduce you, Rosie. How long is it? It's been a while now, hasn't it? How long have you been in charge of the helm?
2.5 years I've been here now.
Is it that long?
Wow, Simon leapt forward then.
It's amazing when you're having fun, isn't it, Simon?
Isn't it just? Goodness me, time flies.
September 23.
Wow, that is incredible. I genuinely didn't think it'd been that long. And Tina Wallace, who, I mean, how many ways to introduce you, Tina? You are, I would say, an equestrian influencer, content creator. Friend of Simon and I, we've known you a very long time. And it's so lovely to have you on. But you have also just been on a hen do with Simon.
I am. So I'm staying a little bit stum till we're warmed up. But we had a very good time. And I think we're both still quite tired, aren't we, Simon?
We are, yeah. I mean, I was only there for half of it, though. And Tina stayed on for another couple of days after I'd gone. So I imagine there are lots of very wild stories that I'm unaware of. And Tina's been having a crazy time. But it's always the way, though, isn't it? The first night, I think everyone went a little bit cray-cray and had a brilliant time. And then after that, it was like, ooh, let's all just calm down and slow down a little bit, because I think we were all suffering a bit the next morning. But
slightly,
it was great fun.
The next morning, yeah. But it was amazing, and it was so good that we got to do it all together. And yeah, time to get back to a bit of normality now.
Was it nice to hang out away from horses? Let's be honest. You can say it. It's allowed.
Yeah, 100% it was. It was lovely. It does still feel nice to come back to them, though. I could have done a few more days. I was there Wednesday to Sunday, so I was there, 4 nights, was it? Literally only got back about an hour ago, back to Cornwall. But it is obviously lovely to hang out with our buddies without ponies there, especially when we all met via ponies. But just fab that we've managed to continue such good friendships to be able to do things like that and celebrate each other all together.
And that is one thing we talk about, Simon. And Rosie, I'm sure this is something British eventing is probably like one of the things. Horses has genuinely brought us all together. Us three as friends, we've come together through horses, haven't we, Simon? But Rosie, I'm guessing you've learned that from being in charge of British eventing. There is the eventing family, as it were, and the friendships that's formed from it, and the love, and if something goes wrong for someone, everyone is there. That is one of the things I loved about it personally. Have you found that, being in charge and being at the helm?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, my 2 dearest, oldest friends, Rachel Newsom and Katie Rain, who I still am in contact with today, I started at Pony Club with when we were 5. So, so we grew up together. We separated and gone our separate ways, but around the world and all sorts of stuff. So horses are, and the equestrian stuff, yeah. It's funny, isn't it? Because it's quite a difficult a community to come into and be trusted within, because you're all a bit sort of closed, which is, I think I'm getting there now. But yeah. Some of the stuff that has gone on over the last 2 years has really, really struck home to me how important the community is, and how important all the members of the community find the community, if that makes sense, to their lives, not just to their eventing bits, but to their overall lives.
I think you're so right with that, because I found like when I was at school, not that many other kids were into horses and ponies, and I was pretty obsessed with them all, and so I felt a little bit excluded is probably the wrong word, but I felt a little bit of an outsider in comparison to everybody else, and then going and joining the pony club, joining British Eventing, meeting other kids that had exactly the same mindset as me and that loved ponies and loved eventing really. And then I felt really so much more included then within the community, and I really latched onto that at the time, and it was really helpful to me growing up. So I think that's a really good point, because I don't know about you guys, I don't know what you thought, Tina, when you were younger, but like there weren't that many other kids that were into horses and ponies when I was at school.
Yeah, I mean, I was very lucky that although I didn't have my own horse or pony, a few of my close circle of friends at school did. And that enabled me to get more into it, because I was lucky enough to go and ride theirs and share theirs and go to shows and stuff with them. So that was sort of my step into horses, was although I didn't have my own and I wasn't a part of a pony club, I got to be a part of horsey life via some of my school friends. So actually, I'm very grateful to them for that. And then I did have quite a big, before getting back into horses and being able to have my own and afford my own. But if I hadn't had those friends at school, I may well have never been even interested or know much about having a horse or a pony.
And you've said it, haven't you, Simon, as well? For you coming out as being gay, and you found as well that the eventing community and the horse community have been unbelievably accepting, haven't they? There's always been
Hugely. I haven't watched the whole thing yet, but there's a new series on, I think it was on Netflix or the BBC, called Tiptoe, and it just talks about how the LGBTQ community are still not as accepted as everyone thinks that they are, and it was just kind of talking about. Honestly, within the equestrian world, the equestrian community, it has never been a problem for me. Literally never been a problem. Like, everyone's always been so welcoming, and so, I mean, there's been, I think I could say there's been one person that really wasn't very keen, and maybe feel really uncomfortable, but they were completely unaware of the fact that they'd done that. It was just, I think that was more them than anything else. But yeah, but as a general rule, like, the equestrian world and eventing, it's so accepted, and it's, and I take a lot of comfort from that, and it's made me into the person that I am today, which is cool.
Complete arse. No, I'm joking.
Exactly.
I love you, really.
What a twat.
We love you, really. Obviously, I've known Tina a long time. What's your background with horses and eventing? Obviously, you mentioned there the pony club. What was your route into horses and riding, and that led you into being basically Simon's boss? I consider you as here now.
Yeah. So I grew up on a farm in country Australia, and horses. Bo Peep was my first one, and we rode the horses because we needed to get sheep in and cattle in, and we were country kids, so we chased sheep and cattle around everywhere. I have two older sisters who were slightly competitive. And we used to race around playing Robin Hood through the timber, which is what you guys would call the forest, but it's timber, and jump everything possible. And then then we had a pony club, but we had pony club a bit different to you guys over here. We have a week where you go in your camp and you all stay in the basketball court at the showground, and you ride all week, right? And you start in Pink Check Troop, which is the little kids, and they get, I don't think I've got led around, but that's the little kids. And then you go up again. And then I think at about 6 or 7, you move into the bigger troops. And Rachel, Katie and I, we moved on relatively quickly because we were just riding a lot, right? So we could just balance and stay on and do all that stuff. So, and then you got big kids. So 16 is when you finish, but you're in a troop. And the troop is really competitive when there's other troops, and you do all your training and everything all through the week with all the kids. So you're riding against them with big kids. So we used to do this great thing. We had troop drill, and you go around and you start off in singles, going all the way around a showground, like huge. And then you go to doubles, and then you go to fours and pairs and stuff, and you get squashed in the middle, and it'd be brilliant fun, and you'd fall off, and then at the end of on the Saturday, everyone would get dressed up in their finery, joddies and a brown jumper, and compete. And you go, under 8s, under 10s, under 12s, under 14s, under 16s, and under 18s. And then you got points for your troop. So the better you were, what you needed is a whole pile of decent performers all the way through your troop. And so, yeah, and you used to get, highest point score. At the end of the weekend, you'd go right out and get your trophy and all that stuff. And then you get selected into the divisional team, and then go away into the zone team, and then you go away and compete and keep going in your age groups and stuff like that. So, and then I show jumped and did some eventing, and my sisters and I played polocrosse. I was 7 when I started playing polocrosse because my sisters, I had a horse called Thunder that used to stop dead, and he'd go meow and fly off. Anyhow, so I was the youngest. Then there was 5 kids in the town that wanted to play, and you need 6. So I had to go and play on Thunder. And I used to fall off, and my sisters and my kind compatriots in my team used to bet on what trucker I'd fall off in, because I used to fall off in every single game. Because I was little, and they used to bump me, and I'd go and fall off. So great fun. But I ended up getting my own back. Actually, I wasn't a bad polocrosse player, so I ended up whacking the odd big one with a polocrosse stick.
So I'm getting the impression that you're hard as nails, Rosie, as well, from this.
Yeah, well, I'm competitive. Let's just say that. Don't like losing.
Well, and how did this then branch into you ending up being the CEO of British Eventing? Like, why are you here?
So I've always worked. My career is sport. I've always been a sports administrator, and gone sort of through the ranks of sports administration. And sports administration is a real skill. It's not like people say, well, you're not running a Fortune 500 company or whatever, or you're not a lawyer or whatever. It's like, but as a sports administrator, you've got to be really, really good at quite a lot of different stuff. And you've also got to know how to bring people along with you on the team. So I've always enjoyed that, right? So I did a bunch of different jobs in Australia, and then I applied for a job over here, took over women's rugby in 2002, ended up over here. So I was in charge of women's rugby over here for 2002 to 2013. Then I moved into the RFU until 2018, left the RFU, set up a management consultancy. Didn't really like that because I had to work on my own all the time. And I'm more of a team builder rather than anything else. But, like today, I've gone from talking about heat and horses and travelling and watering of courses to rights issues with broadcasting and lawyers and HR and strategic planning. So it's a really wide job. And then on the weekend, I'll go out to Farley. I think I'm going to Farley, and I'll go and pat some horses and cheer some people on. And then, so it's a really, really wide remit. I applied for this job. I got it on the 3rd time. So
really,
I was a bit silly.
That's interesting.
Well, I've always promised myself I'd never work in a sport I don't like watching. And I've always horses and stuff have always been really interesting, right? So I've always watched racing, and I've always watched eventing and show jumping and stuff that was on, and so I was always interested. But you got to watch a sport that you like, because you got to watch a lot of it.
That is so true. That's so interesting. And from a women's rugby perspective to a sport where we compete on even keel. So Tina can go tomorrow and compete against Simon, not only him being a 5-star competitor, but also Tina being an amateur. So there's 2 factors there. How has that been? Because obviously women's rugby has had such an amazing turnaround. It's been absolutely phenomenal. But it is, from that perspective, that must have been very interesting for you, because it is crazy, isn't it, Tina, that tomorrow you could go and compete against Simon when Simon was going around badminton a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I think you got to just be careful that in club rugby, which is where a lot of women still play. I mean, when I first started, there was about 7 or 8 girls who were playing that were under 16, and now there's 25,000 women playing, right? So, but in club rugby, you could easily see an England player playing on the wing versus an absolute beginner. And, in club rugby, that happens all the time, right? Really good players are playing against lots of good players. So it's a similar thing. Men and women shouldn't play contact sports against each other, so you wouldn't. And it's a contact sport, so you can't compete against each other. So there's that. That's sort of not irrelevant. That's not relevant, but I think it's wonderful when you see some great. I've seen some really lovely. I was at Little Downer. There was a little girl who was it was her first show jumping thing, and she was really, 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 really nervous, and she was in tears, and Dad was having a problem because Dad didn't know which way to put the boots on, and Dad was not horsey at all. And I was standing there and I was being the show jumping steward for some unknown reason, because I needed to experience being a show jumping steward.
I remember that.
Yeah, and lovely Susie Berry and the Italian chap Giovanni, they rode over to me and said, "We'll take her," and they put her in between the two of them, and they just walked around the warm-up area a few times with her, having a chat. She came back round, ready to go. Boom. No more tears. They'd just given her some confidence.
Oh, I'm so hormonal. That's going to make me cry. Tina's going. Oh, doesn't it take me and Tina are the worst for this?
That's so sweet, though. I've got a similar experience, to be fair. One of my first events of Enzo last year, I was so worried. We'd got a good dressage. We'd gone clear show jumping. And then I went to go to cross country and I was so nervous. I didn't want to let him down. He's a young horse, but with a lot of ability. And I went down there and William Fox Pitt was down there and he was the only other one in the warm-up. And suddenly that just lifted my... It didn't make me feel daunted. It actually lifted me because I was like, oh, I'll just follow him over a few warm-up jumps and we'll be absolutely fine. And it made a huge difference. But he was, really lovely and smiley and chatty and it just, And if I'd gone into that warm-up and it had been a nervous other person, that could have backfired completely and affected my nerves more and made me feel less confident, but it lifted my confidence.
Yeah, I think having other kind of top riders there, it's so inspiring, and it's really and I find that when all the events I go to, when you've got great riders there, I just find it really inspiring, and being in the same field as them, doing the same thing as them, and the focus and all that kind of stuff that they do. I think it's really useful as riders to get us into the right mindset. I think it's something that makes the sport so special. One of the reasons why I wanted to do it so much when I was younger was because I wanted to be able to go and compete against these big wigs, and then eventually it started to get to the point where I was like, this is really annoying because I want to beat them.
I
wish they didn't come.
Unless it's Paul Tapner. Do you want to know my Paul Tapner story?
Yeah, go on then.
I might have to do a terrible Australian accent, Rosie. I apologise now. So I am, my husband, Gregor, handsome, lovely Gregor, is very non-horsey. But one of the things I've taught him is how to do studs, because it's very useful to have someone else who can do studs. Doesn't half bloody moan about doing studs. It takes him about 4 days to do 1 foot. But I was trying to teach him, put rug on and off and do studs. And as he was having a go at studs, I cannot remember, I might have been at Smith's Lawn or something, we were parked next to Tappers, and Tappers came over, he's like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "What?" He's like, "Never let the wife know you can do studs. You'll be doing them forever. You never let them know. You play dumb and you say you can't do a thing and you get the beers in." And I was like, "Oh, thank you, Paul. Yes, very unhelpful. Thank you." So yes, he shouted, sorry, Rosie, for the accent, shouted at my husband and told him from now on to deny any knowledge of horses and to feign ignorance on everything. And I was like, right, that's fair enough. And so from then on, my husband was in charge of picnics and beer. But again, it was just so nice being parked next to Tappers and him coming over and chatting to Gregor when Gregor didn't know anyone. And yeah, it is great. And like on a course walk, what I find is the amount of times I've been on a course walk and I've seen like a Tina Cook and I've gone, "Oh, Tina, what do you think of this? How should I ride this? How should this go?" I think that's when I really like it. Have you ever had that, Tina? Have you ever walked a course and seen any other big wigs going around and asked any advice or got any advice from the likes of Simey?
Yeah, well, I was very lucky that Simey actually walked the course with me at badminton this year, didn't you, Simey? Me and Meg.
I did.
And I think it definitely helps because obviously to you guys, I know that you obviously complete younger horses as well at the lower levels, but to you when walking a course like that, because it is so much smaller compared to what you were there to be doing at badminton, it could be easy for you to be blasé about it and be like, but you're not. And you give us so much confidence and like inspire us to believe in the fact we can do it. And it's not easy. You're not going to make it feel like, well, you should be able to do that because it's easy, but you give us the right like way of approaching it without it feeling too daunting.
Did you know what Simon said about the course on our podcast? Have you listened? Come on,
Is it
Simon.
one I've missed?
What did you think? What did you actually think of the course, Simon?
Did he declare this before or afterwards that we'd done it?
This was afterwards. I thought it was massive.
Well, you did a good job convincing us it was doable.
Well, no, it was. Don't get me wrong. It was very doable, but it was proper. Like it was proper. It
It's
was.
a championship
It was
course.
big
It's
and
supposed to
bold
be
in
proper.
places.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah,
definitely the
exactly.
most
It's
daunting
so
thing
it's
I've walked.
Yeah, like because I was thinking about it like if I was because I've got some horses that are kind of doing 90s and 100s at the moment, and I was thinking if I wanted to do that with these guys, I'd have to really ride to be able to get around that clear. It was it was proper. So that's a good on you.
Yeah. No, it was,
But I've
the
been in
way
that
you
situation as
phrased it all. You made it exciting and like a good challenge rather than you need to be concerned about this because of this. It was like, think about how good that's going to feel once you've done it.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Your inner monologue was working that day, Simon. Well done.
It was. I remember I had a similar thing. The first time I did Burley in 2012, I had a really, really busy time. I had like 4 or 5 horses in the young event horse final on the Friday, so I was busy all day, and I hadn't walked the course on the Wednesday for whatever reason. I can't remember. And then on the Thursday, I had my dressage to focus on, and so I hadn't had a chance to walk the course then either. So because I was so useless, I hadn't actually properly walked the course yet, and it was starting to get dark on the Friday evening, and so I was like, and because I done all right, I hadn't won, but I done all right. I was in the top 10 in the 4-year-olds, and it wasn't dark because it was like summer, isn't it? But like it was starting to get a little bit like that, and I started walking the course, and like the leaf pit was like fence 2 or 3, and I remember kind of running to the start and then thinking, oh my god, and I was in such a flap and in such a panic that I was like, I haven't walked the course, no idea what I'm doing. It's my first ever time at Burley, and I got to the leaf pit and Jeanette Breakwell came along with John Bowen, her coach, and they were just they were walking the course, and I was like, guys, do you mind if I join you, please? Because I don't know what I'm doing, and yeah, of course. And so we walked the course together, and oh god, she was so brilliant. Like she was so inclusive. Like she didn't know my horse, but she was really really helpful with the whole thing, and yeah, like. Just going back to that community, the eventing community is such a wonderful community where everyone wants to help everyone, and I always feel like it's all of us against the cross country course, and then once everyone's back safe and sound, then it's about being competitive. That's kind of like that's how it is.
I like that. You need to share that, Rosie, as a line. You're all against the course until it's at the end, and then you're against each other until everyone's home safely. So one of the reasons we have the wonderful Rosie and Tina on the podcast today, I haven't taught for a very long time now. As a riding instructor, have taught many people to accomplish their dreams of going around just a cross-country course at 80 or move up through the levels and train people. But you can only do so much in an hour. But one of the things is that idea of preparation. What is your phrase, Simon? Prepare to fail or fail to prepare. What's that famous phrase? I'm sure you've said it.
There is a famous phrase, isn't it?
Yeah.
I can't remember what it is though, Jenny. I always say it's about dotting your I's and crossing your T's.
It's a very good one. I'm going to find it out. Anyway, but you can, to be able to send people away, go and do your homework. But
There's
in my
that rude
day...
one, isn't there? I can't remember what it is.
God, no, don't say that. But BE, and I like the play on words here, have come up with be prepared. That was a good...
Here we go. I've got it.
Oh.
Proper planning and preparation prevents poor performance.
There we go. Excellent.
Bit of a tongue twister, that one.
I feel like that shouldn't be British Eventing's tagline for this, though.
Probably not.
No.
But be prepared is somewhere that, as an instructor, like yourself, Simon, like I was back in the day, is something you can now go, do you know what, guys? I can only do so much. You've got to go and do learning, takeaways, go and digest stuff, learn from different people. Rosie, tell me about this wonderful initiative, because it isn't just for the amateur, is it? It's for everybody.
No. So I was sitting on the wall at Aston Lawes with Sarah Varney, and we were watching the show Jumping for a 1 Star a year and a half ago, and a load of people were falling off, and they were just getting knackered. And I started to talk to some of the riders, and I'm going, Sarah, what's going on here? Because there's too many happening. And anyhow, so Sarah and I were talking about it, and she's like, they just don't do enough to get ready, right? I started to talk to her about it. Well, I just started to talk to some of the riders. I'm going, what have you done to get here? And they were like, oh, well, because at one stage you've got to do a 105 show jumping course. And I'm like, have you done a treble? Have you done a water jump? And I was like, no, not really. I'm like, what? And I played rugby, so I hate the gym with a passion. But I had to go to the gym because I had to get ready to go to physically ready and mentally ready to play rugby, or I wouldn't have been playing, right? So I was talking about it, and I talked about it with a bunch of different people. I'm like, there just doesn't seem to be enough ability to be prepared, right? And I know it was my little pun. We also have a youth council, and I was talking to the youth council about how they get ready and how they do stuff and where their background was. And Jago Jackson was telling me about his mum and dad, who aren't horsey at all. And where they had no help when it came to putting in, funnily enough, studs, for example, when to put them in, what to do them, how to do it, etc. So, and in all my sort of travel around, I see a lot of people, right? And I see a lot of people who are holding onto the horse and grooming, or mum or a dad or whatever, or young riders or whatever. And a lot of these things are really quite technical, and a lot of these things you really need to learn, right? But if you haven't started your life in the pony club, you don't know how to tie a safety knot just in case your horse pulls back, right? So there you go. You go and tie your horse up on a piece of string with your 700 quid bridle, and you wait for the horse to pull back, and bang goes your bridle. So there's all these things that, and the amount of times I've wandered around a horse box and gone up to a horse and retied it and actually taught the person how to do the safety knot. Here, you just do this. So if you pull that piece of string, it'll come undone if your horse pulls back. So anyhow, I just thought, right, we've got to do something about this, because eventing is a daunting space to come into. And people find it quite daunting, and people that are returning to eventing particularly, and coming from pony club to eventing, or just having a horse and going eventing, it's not easy. There's lots of gear. There's lots of stuff. There's lots of things you've got to learn. So we then sort of set about going, okay, we're going to do a Be Prepared program. It's got a bit bigger than I thought it was going to in the first little bit, to be frank. At the moment, we're focusing it on that sort of 100 and below type people, because they're 75% of our members, right? Our job as the national governing body is to make sure that people are having loads of fun doing what they want to do, and are doing it in the safest environment they can do it in, and they're not daunted when they turn up. Because, no matter how you do it, you drive your lorry into the lorry park, you don't know what you're going to expect. You don't know who the people are you need to talk to. You don't know if someone's going to help you. You don't know how to tie your horse up. But they're exactly the people we want to come eventing. They are the bottom. The other bit is those people that are that sort of one star. They do know a lot of this stuff, but actually, are they ready to go to the next bit? So am I ready to transition from 80 to 90, 90 to 100, 100 to wherever, to get. And I think there's still a lot of more resources that we need to do. There's a lot of stuff like what to expect in your first trot up. I mean, one of the girls that was on the youth council, she said to me, I felt really out of sorts because I turned up with the wrong bridle on. I wasn't dressed properly, blah, blah, blah. And I just felt like an idiot. Now, you feel like an idiot when you turn up to our sport. You don't turn up again, right? And the other factor for this sport particularly, this is not about just putting two jumpers down or playing a game of cricket or playing a game of football. This is, you've got to be safe, right? And you've got to be ready to go with the right gear on, in the right order, out on the cross-country course or around the show jumping thing, whatever. And it's all about just breaking down the barriers. And I also think there's a lot of people out there who think they're very good at what we're doing, but actually get in and have a look at some of the Be Prepared stuff, because it's not just for the amateur beginner. It's about how you can reflect on your own performance. And, Simon, I challenge you to not find something on the Be Prepared thing that you either didn't know or doesn't actually make you go away and think, actually, you know what, I've got to go and work on that. Me and my horse, or I've got to educate my grooms differently, or whatever. There's loads and loads of stuff in there. And, things like parents. Parents find horse sport daunting. They're going to get stood on. They're also, they don't know how to they learn how to drive the lorry because they have to. But what do they do with the horse? And then that stress level.
It's interesting. So I do quite a lot of teaching now, and there's a huge I teach quite a lot of youngsters and there's a huge proportion of them who are driven by a parent who normally is great crack and very funny and very entertaining, but completely unhorsey. And they'll come in and they'll come into the middle and they'll start chatting to me about stuff and say, I've got no idea about this, and it actually terrifies me. I've no idea what I'm doing. I just drive and then just hope that they know what they're doing. And actually, so is this an option for them, Rosie, to
Yeah.
get involved as well? Because
Yeah.
like, you know,
There's a
it'd be
whole
so
section on
useful for
how to
those
put.
people.
There's a whole section on how to put studs in. There's a whole section. There's going to be some section about. There's some gear sections being built at the moment. Which way do the boots go on? You know,
Yeah.
it's not like it. We all think we
It's
know.
not. It's not.
not
And
easy.
it's a real common thing.
Yeah.
And like just the basics of it, of how the day actually runs. Like when my dad comes to an event, I've been eventing for a very long time. And like 30 years. And my dad still comes along to an event and I'll do a dressage test and he goes, so what are we doing now? Cross country? I'm like, no, Dad, it's a one-day event. You know we do show jumping next. And he's like, oh, no, I didn't know that. And but like, it's a great thing to have for the parents, definitely. So they, give them a little bit more help,
husbands,
especially when they're not
wives,
horsey.
people who
Yeah.
just don't understand it. There's loads of stuff in there for
Also, say, for
everybody.
example, you fall off or something happens or you've got an obnoxious child who doesn't want to do their own horse at the end, the parents just knowing, no, you need to call that horse off. That horse needs to be walked. You need to go and walk your show jumping. I don't care how good you think you are. Go and walk your show jumping, please, young lady. Reflecting on what I've heard from people. You need to take your time. Like, do you know what I mean? Parents being able to inform their kids to be safe, but also if something does happen, they then know how to care for that horse as well. If something happens to the kid or the horse, something happens while the kid's walking the course or the partner's walking the course. There's so, I mean, I could go on and on and on, but there's so much to it, isn't there?
See, my partner's a really good sailor, and we were in Croatia, and I was skippering the boat, spun the boat round by accident. We went off the front, right? I then went and did a skippering course because I knew that if she'd gone off, there would be no way I would have been able to stop the 40-foot boat, get the sails down, turn around, and go back and get her.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Be prepared.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny you should say
Yeah.
that, actually, because a few years ago we had a boat and my husband made me do my boat license. Like, it's not compulsory. You can drive a
No.
speedboat here without having one. But again, he was off the front trying to do the anchor one day and we started drifting towards another boat and I was like, I don't really know what to do. And then when you do put it, it shoots forward. So he was like, you're going to do your boat license. It's not safe. The two of us driving this
Yeah.
boat and trying to think it's a fun leisure activity when actually it's really blinking dangerous.
Be prepared is also about people having fun. And it shouldn't be, your sport on the weekends shouldn't be as stressful. It's stressful enough getting around the course and the show jumping and remembering your dressage test, right? Let's not make everything else a stress. Let's help people have fun. Because for me, as an anatomical governing body, that helps them come back. They go and enter more events and they become a member for longer and the cycle keeps going.
Yeah, because there's nothing worse than making a silly mistake and having a silly elimination or something like that when it's not actually anything to do with your physical ability to do with riding, but you may have broke a rule or you may have just done something that means that you then can't go forward to cross country. Or I liked the fact that when I was looking at it the other day, it actually, because there's quite a lot of psychology and mindset stuff in there as well, isn't there? And I really liked the fact that when I was looking at it, because I was trying to decide what I wanted my goal to be with Enzo this year, and I actually found reading some of the stuff, I was like, yeah, I know that, I can do that. And it just installed more belief in myself rather than actually physically taught me that section, that segment. It made me be like, well, actually we can do this because I already know that.
it's good as a
You're checking in
refresher.
on your reflection. You're reflecting and
Yeah.
going, actually, by just reminding yourself what you already can do,
Yep.
it's a really good
It made me
thing
go
to
and enter the next
You did.
event, or the first event, I should say.
Tina, I hope you don't mind me saying, and I do not. You do not stand alone in this because I'm just the same. You do get quite nervous, don't you? And you can.
Yeah, I would say so a lot more previously than as much as I do now. But again, that's from putting the work in.
Yeah, exactly. And then obviously now you're coming out with a new horse. Obviously you've had Banksy for a very long time, so going out with him now is more of a joy and what to expect. But with a young horse, again, what has been your, like, has there been anything you've forgotten or anything you've done wrong just from your nerves? Because like you say, you know it.
Well, I had never done, because when I first got Banksy, I'd only actually ever done I started at BE90. I'd never actually done an 80 until last year. And I learned the wrong test because I just assumed it would be the same as the 90 because they're called BE91 or BE95. But the 80 was a different test to the 90 that day, and I learnt the wrong test. So that was definitely a rookie error of never having done an 80 before.
That's hilarious.
You should have got on Be Prepared and clicked on what do I need to do for an 80. And the first thing will be learn the 80 dressage test.
Literally that.
You muppet. Did you get pinged then?
I was doing the Gobi 80, so it wasn't on his record that I messed up.
Did they ring the bell and say you should have done that?
She was like, that's
ouch,
not the right way to go. I was like, yeah.
Embarrassing.
Very first ever.
I love that.
I was at
Rosie's like,
Westfield.
that's terrible.
Yeah.
But even you, Simon Grieve, you didn't know all the rules the other day, did you, Simon Grieve?
No, I didn't know the rules. Well, yeah, I should be reading the rules as my bedtime reading, but I don't, which is bad. But yeah, no, I was on my phone the other day. But this isn't a British eventing rule; it's an FEI rule. I was on my phone the other day, and that is not allowed anymore. That's a new thing this year. You can't be on your phone.
What, whilst on horseback?
Whilst on horseback, you cannot be on your phone.
Which I think is a very good rule. It's one of my pet peeves.
Were you just phoning someone to check you'd learnt the right test?
So I was jumping in the Burnham Market warm up, and James rang me, and he was James is my partner, Rosie, and he wasn't there, and I was a bit like, and he wouldn't normally ring me when I'm kind of like competing until later on, and I thought, well, I better ask that just in case something dodgy, and I was like, hi, I'm just, and I put it in my hat and carried on. And I was like, are you okay? And he was like, yeah, no, fine. I was just catching up, and I was like, oh, I'm actually warming up right now, so I can't chat. He's like, okay, well, sorry, okay, bye. So then I hung up, put it back in my pocket, and carried on and finished. And then, I jumped my round, and then the FAI steward, when I came out, she said, right, just I'll let you off this once, but just.
I was going to ask if you got a friendly slap on the wrist or if you got eliminated.
You cannot do that. You cannot do that. It's a new rule. You can't do that. And she also didn't see me.
For a lot of very good safety reasons and reasons so that you can hear all the officials and stuff, Simon.
Yeah, exactly. So this is good. It's a good thing.
And so that your focus is on your horse and your fellow competitors, not your partner.
Not my boyfriend.
Yeah.
Also play a bit of devil's advocate because I have a bit of a gripe with some of the misinformation that is out there. And it can be a bit terrifying as well. But some people online are out there doing it and giving advice, and it's not always the right advice. If you're just starting out at the bottom level, an 80, you don't need to be galloping or wearing stopwatches or things. So it is nice to have somewhere where say if someone asked you, Tina, you could go, do you know what? If you want to know, go to Be Prepared. That is for the people. That is the information, the correct information is there, because sometimes what online isn't always the safest or the right advice, or it is for that person at that level, but you might be like, oh my God, I don't do that. What, am I doing something wrong? Do you know what I mean?
The cost. We're driven by the industry, and the industry wants everyone to buy a £700 bridle and a big watch and whatever. And actually what you need is a really good helmet, a really good body protector, and some good gear for your horse. And then you can come along and then buy the other stuff as you go along, if you want to. Don't be driven by the industry. Be driven by what you need. And that's really key for people, like for you, Tina, to influence people, because the amount of people that spend an enormous amount of money on stuff they really don't fundamentally need to get started. It's a barrier to starting, let alone staying.
Yeah. God, and I'm like Simon. I'm not going to say I haven't ever.
And there needs to be a bit of a process, I think.
Oh, sorry, go on, Tina.
No, you're okay. I was just like Simon. I didn't know. I've broken a rule before with that. Well, two actually, without realizing. I didn't know that you couldn't ride in the dressage arena the night before. I was at Bicton once, and there were people schooling that were stabled horses, and they were in there, so I went in there. But because I was known, I got eliminated. So that was.
Did you actually get eliminated as well?
Yeah, because it's a rule. I broke I think it's down to the judge's discretion. because you could have had you could have had a better score because your horse has already seen that bit of ground. I don't know. And then also once I lost a shoe whilst show jumping, went clear or had a pole or something, cleared the finish line.
Oh
But then
no! Did
Banks
you
is
get
very
off?
sensitive, isn't he? I jumped straight off to check his foot, but you have to have
Oh, you
left the
got off in
ring
the
before you.
arena.
And then walked out. Oh no!
Yeah. But that's health and safety because the other rider was coming in. I could have got in their way or got hurt by another horse. But that's a very valid point. And I've learned from that. I wouldn't ever do that again, even if he has lost a shoe and is a bit. But I just think, yeah, we were all going to make mistakes, but you learn from them. And then, like you say, you can make everything safer from sharing about that as well.
Yeah,
100%. I do think.
So Rosie, how do you do this? Like, where do you find the Be Prepared? It's on the hub.
Yeah, it goes through British Eventing. It's on the website. Google Be Prepared. There's all the links and everything, and then there's a big hub of stuff, right? And we just keep adding. We're going to be adding stuff. We're going to be doing some more stuff in the winter. We're going to do a bit of a review as to what we're missing. And the idea about it being online is it's repeatable. So you can go in and look at it and you sign up and you put your email in like you have to.
And it's all free of charge, isn't it?
It's all free.
Yeah, all free.
For everyone. You don't even have to be a member, do you?
Don't have to be a member. The idea is that people I think as a national governing body, we have a responsibility for everybody who wants to go eventing. Whether you're unaffiliated or whether you're Cotswold Cup or your Pony Club or your Riding Club or whatever, I don't care. I want everybody that's in eventing to be having a great time. Hopefully, lots of them will love British eventing and they'll come and join us and they'll compete with us and all that sort of stuff, right? But it is about just making sure that everybody's there. So once you sign up, you can watch things repeat. You can go back and watch things again. You can do little quizzy things. There's little lists, PDF lists that you can download and print them off so you don't forget things in your lorry. Don't forget your passport. Don't forget this. Don't forget that. There's a list.
Yeah, passport. A lot of people wouldn't know you needed that if you're first time eventing.
No, exactly. So there's all sorts of different stuff that hopefully it's a helpful library of cool things, right? And then there's some coaching stuff that Kate Williams and others have done. But
she's amazing. I love her. I've been taught by her. She's so good at it, making it really fun, but explaining it so you could watch it as Simon. You could watch her exercises, I think, and you'd get from them. And Tina, me and you could watch them and we'd get from them. She has such a great way of just making it for everyone. I'm just such a big fan of hers.
Yeah. And then, but you can also, for me, you can go back and watch it again and again and again. And you can probably go out, do a bit, go out and practice it on your horse, come back in, go, actually, how'd that go? And some of this is all about being reflective, right? Did I just go around the cross-country course and I'm happy because I'm back? Or actually, how did I go around the cross-country course? What can I do differently as a rider for my horse, whether it's do a bit more on their fitness or do a bit more pole work or look at my balance, because it is my balance and its balance, and so
100%.
And what I've got to do is to get my balance better, I've got to go and do some core stability work, right? So that's what I'm going to do in the winter. It's all about that whole picture, and the whole picture ends up with happy people, happy horses, racing around cross-country courses, feeling like they are, singing Black Beauty song and having a great time and coming back next week.
I did used to sing. I had the Coronation theme tune in my house once going around the course. I don't know where. Don't know why.
How do you not want to sing the Black Beauty tune? Like as you're galloping across the top of the hill. Da-da-da.
Love that. I did a training thing once with David Dole, and he says I always sticks in my head that he sings "We All Live in a Yellow Submarine" as he goes round.
See, brilliant.
It's there with you when he did that. That was the eventing show we made.
There you
wasn't
go.
it?
I think that's something we should be. So, we need people to email in, or however you do it, hashtag whatever. Yeah. What song do you sing when you're on the cross country course? Mine is Black Beauty Jet Team Tune.
I feel like yours is quite fast, Rosie. I feel like yours is more fast, of a rhythm. Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
But David, Simey, I love you, Simey, but David is a little bit quicker than you. Maybe you need to start singing Yellow Submarine to get your canter up.
Yeah. I mean, I remember galloping through some woods and singing Robin Hood riding through the glen.
Yes. Oh, great. That's the one that my sisters and I used to sing all the time when we were doing Robin Hood through the timber.
But though, Rosie, the problem with that is it's very Robin Hood,
That's very
riding through.
Simon.
That's really
Simon, you
slow.
can
You're down
And
at
it
your
has,
minute marker then.
it has stuck with me all the way through ever
You
since.
can, Simon, change it up though. If you have got any musical bone in your body, you can sing it a little bit faster if you wanted.
Okay, I'll try and do it a bit.
Try that
quicker.
next time. Yeah,
Rosie, he's quite the singer, is our Simon.
yeah.
But I do feel like, let us know. Send us an email or the email address and all the details for Be Prepared are in the episode description, or get in touch social media. What song from now on should Simon, and I think we need one for Tina as well. What song should they be eventing to in their head? I actually am going to very much enjoy this. It could become a feature. We'll have Tina on every week.
To be fair, when Em and I used to always travel together, the last song that we would put on as we pulled into a venue to get ourselves psyched up would be that I am giant, stand up on my shoulders,
yeah.
tell them what you see. That's quite
That's a good one.
Pipe.
That's a
turned
good
up really
one.
loud. Mm.
When we used to go out with Laura Collett and we went team chasing, we used to do Who Runs the World? Girls. Who runs the world? Yeah, that was our one.
Love
Sorry,
that.
Simon.
Before I got on for badminton this year, I played Abracadabra by Lady Gaga. That was a good one.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
That is
she's so cool though.
She
That
is
woman
cool.
is just amazing. She's absolutely amazing.
She is. I'm just trying. I can't even think how that goes. I'm so old.
me either. I was
Abracadabra,
shocked to hear-
ulana,
Oh yeah.
abracadabra. No.
I love Lady Gaga, and I don't think I've ever heard that song.
Oh mate, you will have done. You would have done.
I suppose Shallow's a bit slow, isn't it?
Yeah, that would be a little bit. No, I don't think talking about Shallow as he's going through a water fence would be the best idea. So, Simon, we have to talk about it. So, I love the idea of getting lists. I love a bloody list, but I'm too lazy to write them. So, having a tickable list for me I think this would be the thing I would use a lot. Simon, how important is it you remember your hat to an event, and tell us why you have to remember your hats for events?
So I've just been to Royal Ascot. I went there on Saturday, and it was for James's best friend's birthday party, and we went in tails and top hats, and it was all fabulous. And the biggest problem that I had was that I couldn't find a top hat that would fit my head because it is so massive. I've got like the biggest head in the entire universe. And I was saying to the guys in the shop, I was like, I ride horses for a living. And the one thing that I cannot forget if I'm going competing is my riding hat, because there's no chance I'll ever be able to borrow one off somebody. It's big enough. It's literally, it's embarrassing. You're sorry?
Yeah.
You've got a big bellend.
Yeah. I've got this massive extension on the back of my head. It's like, did you watch the film Alien?
No, too scary for me.
Oh, okay. Well, so Alien, they're narrow, but then they've got this really long bit out the back. That is me. Or I'm like a flatfish, really narrow, and then you turn, and then these really, really, really wide.
Actually, you just turned your head, and you do have a massive head.
Yeah, massive. It's a beast, absolute beast. And everyone always says, "Oh, it's because you've got so many more brains in there." No, I don't. There's obviously just air there. That's what obviously what it is.
You could have like Finding Nemo, Dory's song when you're riding. Keep on swimming, keep on riding.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't touch the boat. Don't touch the boat.
So one of the things that I think you are going to bring into this, and I think, Tina, you and Simon, actually both of you, I'd love your tips on how you cope with this, is, and we get so many questions on how to manage nerves, anxiety, and basically how to not cream your brave pants before you go eventing. That's going to be on there as well, isn't it, Rosie?
Yeah. So there's loads. There's already loads of stuff on it. We will be doing some more stuff. And I think at the moment, what we're doing is we're making sure that we've got really good people doing this stuff. So there's some mental health experts, there's some sports psychologists and things like that. So it's good quality content. But we've got to be careful because, as you said before, we're not going to turn this into it's everybody's opinion. It's got to be science-based. It's got to be realistically. It's got to be proper. Now, but then we also now need to probably soften it a little bit to allow people to see examples of, Rosie Williams gets nervous, vomits, whatever, how that nervousness manifests themselves, but also what are some of the It's not necessarily what the nervousness is. It's actually what people's coping techniques are, and how they can do it. And, some people, I was amazed, some people find show jumping way more scary than cross country.
Yeah, huge percentage of people do.
I thought that's amazing.
Oh, I find the
mad.
dressage more scary.
I would find dressage just so scary. And when I was a kid, it was like, oh my God, I don't want to do that. It's a way for me to get past that bit to go into that bit. But obviously, you've got to do it, which is fair enough, and it's a key part of the horsey thing. But yeah, where do you get nervous?
It's great to have that out there because you go. I mean, when I was a youngster and I go to these competitions, and all my peers were there, and they all looked like they had their shit together, and they didn't.
No.
But I thought they did, absolutely. But they definitely didn't, because it's human. We're all human. We're all allowed to get nervous, and we all do get nervous. And yeah, okay, so there are some people that don't get as nervous, but they do. Like, I don't care. Anyone who says that they don't is a liar. Like, there is, and it's great to know, and this is really good, that everyone's in the same boat, and that there are tools to be able to help with that, and that you can talk about it as well, and you can discuss it with your peers and find a way through to make it better. And this hub is brilliant for that then.
And one of the other things that we're going to do some work on is what parental nervousness, what the knock-on effect of parental nervousness has on their children, right? Because I'm nervous because my little Josie Jones is just about to go around the cross-country course, but my nervousness is impeding on their nervousness, which is impeding on their ability to make decisions. And it's really interesting.
Because my mum didn't come to badminton this year.
Oh, that's interesting, Tina.
Interesting, yeah. But I was watching a mother in a warm-up, and her daughter turned around to her and said, Mum, am I ready? And I just thought, I'm going to have a word with Mum in a minute. So the kid goes off, comes back, boom, brilliant, right? Woohoo, did it. And I just said, look, have you got a minute? So I had a little chat with her. I said, did you know that your daughter needs you to not say, yes, darling, I think you're ready. Your daughter needs to know, darling, that's
She's
your
ready.
decision. Are you ready? Because it's your decision, not her. It's the child's decision or the rider's decision. It's not, have you checked your girth? Are you comfortable? Do you think you're warmed up enough?
How does your pony feel?
Are you ready? Don't take. Yeah. So it's the parental nervousness or the stakeholder nervousness stuff comes into the bit that says I'm going to try and over prepare them, but actually the person sitting on the horse is the one that's got to be ready, and they've got to know in their head that they're ready. So don't take away their decision making. Teach people how to make their own good quality decisions and be part of that decision making, but don't make the decision for them.
In my when I've told this story before, but on the podcast. But when I did my first 5-star at Poe, my mum came out. She'll hate me for saying this, but she did just miss the dressage by about 2 minutes because she was late. And then once we'd done that, but it was great that she was there. And then once we'd done that, we were going to go and walk the cross country course. And we got to fence 4, it might have been fence 3. It was this whacking great big corner. And I said, Mum, do you want to come walk the course? She said, oh, yeah, okay, I'll come walk the course. So we got to fence 4. There's this massive, great big corner. And we got to it. And she was like, do you know what? I think maybe I'm not going to walk the course with you. Because that looks absolutely enormous and really scary. I think I'm going to go and find a wine bar. You carry on, because I don't want to influence your decision making.
Yeah.
I think, and thank God she didn't, because I think if she'd gone around the rest of it, I think I would have started getting even more nervous because she was nervous.
Yeah. Well,
and I didn't need any help with that.
Even goes back to you walking it with Tina. Imagine if he'd have said to you, oh, bloody hell, Tina, this corner's massive for 100, or a 90. Like, how the hell would that have made you feel?
Literally.
But the other thing is sometimes people aren't knowledgeable enough to have an opinion. You're better off to go with we've got regional coaches and stuff and people that are out there that are walking courses all the time and offering course walks with people. You're better off doing that probably than you are getting half decent experience or half decent advice from someone who's probably never ridden around a cross-country course.
And that's the beauty of this sport again. And I think, like,
somebody will always help you that knows what they're doing.
social media does get a really bad rep these days in lots of ways, but there are so many bits of it that are so fantastic. You know, like I've had it before where when I've had people that I don't know at all, and they've messaged me saying, "I'm at this event and I've seen that you're entered as well. Would you mind walking the course with me?" And if I can, I absolutely will. And I said, well, so I'm going to be walking at this time. If you want to come along, then you can. And a couple of times they've come along and joined me. And, you know, and most riders, well, in fact, probably I would say 95% of riders, if you did approach them and ask them whether you could walk the course with them, they absolutely would. And that is what's so wonderful about this sport. Everyone is prepared to help each other. Be prepared to help each other.
Yeah.
I also think that is the same with you, Tina. Like, if I was at an event and I was having a bit of a moment, I know that I could go, even if I didn't know you personally like I do, I could go over to you going, do you think it's all right? Like, and I know how much confidence you would give someone because you've been there, you felt it. Do you know what I mean? You must get that.
That's one of the things I think, like badminton, obviously a big one, but also like Bicton, especially the 3-day, is one of the fun things is going and walking it as a big group. Because I find, like, one, you hear different people's opinions and looks and views on how to tackle things, but also I find if I'm walking it with somebody that maybe is a bit more nervous, by telling them how you would do it or how you've been taught to do it, then empowers you to believe, yes, I do know what I'm doing, and it makes you feel more confident going out, because if you feel it yourself and you know that you've been able to give good advice to somebody else, then it again installs the self-belief in knowing that you are capable of doing it as well.
Do you think your nerves in the past have impacted your performance?
Oh, 100%. Definitely. Yeah.
And what do you do now? And obviously there's going to be so much on Be Prepared that we can learn, but is there anything that you do? Have you got any techniques that help you before, like, when you next go out on Enzo? Is there anything you do? Do you get hypnotized like Simon?
Hypnotized, but I have had some one-on-one sessions with a psychotherapist. And I think just often, my husband always says to me as well, because I'm a bit of a worrywart in day-to-day life with regards to things. Often he says to me, you worry about what you're going to worry about next. But actually having those sessions that I had helped me understand just more about how my brain works and how to process feelings, not necessarily remotely in equestrian side of it, just in day-to-day life. And that has massively impacted my riding. So it wouldn't have actually been anything physically to do with riding that we've been talking about or discussing or working on, but then the belief in understanding my thoughts and feelings has impacted my riding massively, I would say. I mean, I was once told by an instructor that my dressage would never be good enough to qualify for badminton, and then my clever little boy and me have managed to qualify 3 out of the last 4 years. So
I hope you've went to them.
Yeah.
I hope you're not using them still.
Yeah.
No. But yeah, it's amazing what your mind can do, isn't it? Once you've got the right mindset, lots more things become possible and enjoyable.
That's another
much
thing.
more
Like,
enjoyable.
you don't always not every trainer gels with every rider, and so don't feel like you have to go and bat on with the same person all the time. And this is a great tool that we've got here with the Be Prepared, that you can get advice from different avenues from different people. And and I think that's really important, to not just kind of like,
there's got to be more than one voice in your your preparation.
But then equally, it's really important to make sure that you don't end up getting advice from loads of different directions, because then it ends up getting confusing. You do still need to have your team, have your people, but don't be afraid to ask advice from other directions as well.
What I really loved about it when I was looking at it is how it's really easy to navigate, but also that you've got the different options. Like, I'm quite a visual learner, so watching the videos helps me more than reading an article. I quite often switch off when I'm reading something and scan read, and then have I actually taken any of that in? So to learn a dressage test, for instance, I want to watch somebody do it as opposed to read the sheet. So I love that you've got the option of lots of the educational stuff is videos, but also there's written articles for other people that maybe process and gain information.
Any good training and education thing has got to take into consideration learning styles, and a load of people learn really, really differently. So I'm a visual learner and I go away and practice it. Where if you tried to talk to me for hours or get me to write it down, no. So, yeah, I mean, the guys have done a great job in the preparation of the planning, and we've really been thoughtful about the types of information we've tried to use different learning styles on. But that's coaching, right? That's just good quality coaching.
I think for me as well is we spend so much time and money on the horses, quite rightly, because they are bloody wonderful. But that bit of money left behind that probably doesn't exist to have a coach you mentally is not a position I certainly wouldn't be in. So having this for me, I mean, I'm not even eventing, but I might go and use some of the mindset tools that come up for me just in general day when I'm just going to go and ride some of my friends' youngsters. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just think you're putting it out there to people who might go, oh no, I can't do that. I don't have the funds for that. All my money's going on like Thunder's latest vet bill. But actually this is free and you can spend some time on yourself, and that's okay as well. It's okay to do stuff for you.
It's important to do stuff for you.
I think it's really amazing how you eventing people, or horse people in the UK particularly, talk about the horse a lot more than you ever talk about the person. When somebody says, how'd it go? People will, when you interview someone, they go, oh yeah, he was amazing. And I'm thinking, well, what about you? What did you do? You did have the steering wheel and you were the person that was making some of the decisions. And yes, the horse is amazing. But what are you doing to make your performance, you and your horse's performance, better?
Yeah.
And I don't mean better as in 5-star. I just mean more successful, having more fun, maybe getting to 5-star.
More fun.
Do you know, that's one thing as well that I take away from badminton this year. We did the 100, we did the 92 years ago and the 100 this year. And I had quite a lot of people say to me afterwards, because I didn't go clear cross country. I went clear show jumping, but not cross country. But so many people were expecting me to be disappointed or like unhappy with the result. Whereas actually I came away from that so proud that I had the determination to carry on and complete. Like normally I had to stop quite early on. I had to stop at fence 4. But actually I was like, that made me like, no, we can actually do this and we are getting across that finish line. And the fact that I did that, I think, has given me even more confidence in my ability, because I didn't quit and go, we can't do it.
Yeah. Oh, we're very proud of you, Tina.
Thanks.
So we have been going for an hour, and Rosie, while I've got the CEO of British Eventing on here, I've got a couple of other things, because it would be remiss of me to not answer the cries of our lovely listeners, because they are wonderful, our listeners. They're very, very funny and they take the mick out of us a lot. But they also have entrusted us to find out some stuff for them. But just one of the things we've spoken about before on the podcast, I know you guys are doing a lot for kind of ladies like myself who are going a little bit nuts at the moment and have to slap on the old estrogen patch. I don't know, Tina, are you getting to that point in your life as well where you just feel like your hormones are all over the place and crying a little bit more than you should? But I know B have been doing a lot about this, and one of the questions I actually had for you was, because I haven't evented for a long time now, do you still have to wear cream jodhpurs if you've got your period? This is one of the things I've wanted to ask someone, and I was like, who the hell do I ask? So I was like, Rosie.
Yeah, no, you don't. And you don't have to just have your period to not do it. Like, so many women's sports are moving away from white shorts, white skirts, white everything, but it's also just not about your period or menopause or whatever. It's just about wearing something that is more appropriate. And yes, you have read the rule book. There's different colours that you can wear.
Yeah, because since being on the estrogen, my period can come at any point in time.
Exactly.
When I've changed the levels of it. It's unexpected these days what's happening. So for me, that would be quite a relief. We're
trying to break the barriers down so that that's not a worry, because I actually don't want you worrying about that when you're about to go out on a cross-country course. I want you to be worrying about going out on the cross-country course. Focus on what you can focus on.
And also for someone like you, Simon,
and obviously doesn't get his period, but obviously has other things.
Well, you don't know with Simon. But if you saw one of your clients not wearing the correct colour, but what you might have deemed to be the correct colour beaches, and you run over and go, no, you're wearing the wrong jodhpurs, if you didn't know that was a rule. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't think it's just the women who need to know about it as well, because you could panic a rider by going, oh, you're not in beige breeches. What are you doing? Do you know what I mean? Which could then panic someone before they're about to go down a centre line.
Also, don't buy, have a look at the rules. And if you can only afford 2 pairs of joddies, buy the one that one that's going to maybe do both. You can wear in the yard and you can wear to compete. Cut down the cost.
I like that. Rosie, you're singing from my hymn sheet. And then one of the other things I needed to get an answer to, we've spoken about on this podcast before. Tina is probably a bit like me and likes to talk to her ponies.
A lot.
Yeah. British Dressage have changed some of the rulings that you are now allowed to, I don't think it's a FEI or international level yet, but at certain levels you're allowed to have a little bit of a conflab quietly with your horses. And then we got a barrage of people going, oh, British eventing haven't changed their rules yet. They should stay in line. They should do this. There's a lot of opinions out there. Can I ask, is it happening? Has it happened? What are your
Using voice
takes on that?
commands we're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah. So there's a difference between dressage and us. We have all of our dressage arenas relatively close together, all outside. And you don't sort of have that singular dressage arena where people are. So the other people next door to you can't hear because there isn't anybody next door to you. We've got a B Light program that we've just announced, which you can use your voice as much as you like. But that's the B Light classes. We've just got to be conscious about the other people that are around you while doing your dressage test. And we're not ready to do it yet. And it's really interesting because dressage did it, but they had lots of time to think about it, right? They did it. We don't necessarily just follow what they do because it may or may not be right for our event. But we'll look at it when we need to look at it and see what happens. Just got to be careful about where you are.
This gives me a little flashback. I remember being a British show jumping show once, and I think I was doing the British Novice, and so there were lots of young horses around, and there was a lady there who shall remain nameless, but she there's a couple of, there's one girl especially who was obviously on quite a young one, but it was quite backward, so she's just spent her entire time clicking at it. She was like, and this other girl was gradually getting more and more irate because I think the horse that she was on was really sharp and really tricky. And she just kept clicking and clicking. And eventually, after about 5 minutes, she just turned around and said, can you just stop clicking? And this girl, literally like that. They didn't know each other at all. Can you stop clicking? Because I'm going to get decked any second. So I can see where you're coming from there, Rosie.
If somebody was saying whoa all the time in the next arena.
Whoa.
What have I lost in passion?
Well, Simon has exited his arena before and ended up in Piggy Marches, so we need to look at that as well.
Yeah, that was not fun. I even got mentioned in Horse and Hound for that when Piggy won her section while I was getting eliminated.
Despite
Fantastic.
Simon entering her arena.
Simon, at least we've both been eliminated for leaving the arena in dressage. My first ever one-day event, I got eliminated in dressage for leaving the arena. Naughty Banksy.
All the best people have been eliminated in dressage.
Dressage, yeah.
I think that's really interesting. We like to rule ourselves out of participation promotion. You know, the fact that your horse stepped out of the dressage arena, is that going to be a safety issue? Okay, the rules are the rules, and I understand that. And please don't email in to tell me how. But I'm very much I don't want someone to put their horse on a lorry, drive 2 hours, pay 150 quid to go in, and the only thing they get to do is trot around in a 10-metre circle, and then they're thrown out of the competition. It's not a safety issue. It's not the Olympics, right? And it's not an FEI class, and it's not a qualification, it's not an MER and all that sort of stuff. We've got to be more participation-based. And we've done a lot of that this year with the show jumping particularly. So if you have a technical issue, i.e. you miss a fence or you turn tail or you go a little bit for the bell, whatever, the steward can make the decision that the person is safe enough to go on the cross-country course. And it happened actually at Elan Lodge last year. There was a lady who Lindsay Best allowed to keep going through the competition, and the lady who when she finished the cross-country, Lindsay Best's tiny, and she jumped off a horse and picked her up because she was so excited. The fact that she didn't just get thrown out of the competition, sent home in her lorry, feeling rubbish because she'd forgotten something. I can't remember what she actually did, but she'd forgotten something in the show jumping, and she was allowed to go cross-country. Ta-da! She came back.
And speaking of dressage, I'm gonna ask Rosie. I've had a lot of messages. British recently, we've just had the first UK bridleless dressage and show jumping competition. And I've had quite a few people, I feel like this is a leap, but quite a few people have asked, when do we think eventing are going to follow suit? And I feel like I've got to ask it. So I feel like I should ask it, in fact, because it is something that I feel like if you don't event, maybe that's an obvious question to ask if you've never done it.
I think I can probably categorically say not while I'm the CEO, but only because, and there's a reason. Because if you're show jumping and you're dressaging and you're in an arena, you and your horse have a control mechanism outside of the bridle, right? Because there's a wall and you're not going to get out. In eventing, when you're out on a cross-country course, there's a piece of string that keeps you and your horse away from taking off down there or taking off over there. We make so much effort to make our sport safe. I think riderless cross-country would be a step way too far at this point until somebody could convince me otherwise.
I think as well, isn't it, at the moment, we're all learning about it, and I think there's a step before the bridleless of safe riding, which is something you guys do a lot of, and monitoring how people ride and how well they ride. And what I think a lot of people aren't realising is and I have to say that lovely Lynn, who was the lady who rode the Grand Prix in the bridleless competition, she was like, my horse was trained with a bridle. I didn't just suddenly get to Grand Prix without a bridle. And I think there's a lot of understanding that needs to be going on before. It's not like these horses went to this level and jumped to meter 20 or meter 30 without bridles in the first place. So there's so many steps before it can even become a conversation, I think.
And for me, it's like particular. I mean, I wasn't being flippant before. It is not something that I think that we could do safely in the current environment that we're in. It's just not out in a very large field, right?
Without
to me, I think that sounds like quite scary.
With a whole pot of other horses going around and things going on and stuff.
Yeah.
But you do have like the people that were doing that show, that competition. You have these elite people that obviously are very, very good at that kind of thing, and they also have a fantastic relationship with their horse, and potentially you could have that, and it could work really well going cross country. I don't know, I've never done it, so I'm just kind of surmising here. But that's a very, very, very small percentage of people, and that there were real certain criteria they had to fulfill in order to be able to compete at that competition, weren't there? Jenny.
Yeah.
And I think, if we were going to do it in eventing, I mean, the criteria that you'd have to fulfill would be a never-ending list, wouldn't it?
The criteria you have to fill would probably to have a bridle on.
And what I did find interesting is everybody had to send a video of themselves to prove their capabilities before they could compete. And apparently someone's emailed in and said, and I don't know the answer to this, but apparently show jumping in France, you have to prove your ability before you're allowed to compete. I don't know if we can learn things from things along down the road in the future of assessing riders' ability and making it better for the horse if there was a kind of standard that horses and riders had to adhere to be able to compete.
It's the same in Germany though, isn't it? You have to have a license to be able to compete.
Yeah.
So I have a licensing system that will allow them to compete at a certain level. We have a similar system, inverted commas, because it's the qualification process. But you don't have to have a license to be able. It's the combination. It's the combination of the horse and the rider in terms of qualification. But yeah,
I just think as long as everyone's open to learning from everybody, that's for me. I mean,
it's not like we're not learning. Sometimes you just have to be able to say, actually, that's not for us. It's a good thing for people to do and good on you, and that's great. It's probably absolutely fine in certain environments with lots of regulation and governance around it, but I don't think it's an eventing thing in the short term.
Yeah. Right. It has been an hour and 15 minutes.
Phew.
Rosie and Tina, there is a tradition on this podcast to ask what has annoyed you this week. Most podcasts are all about being zen and being at one with the world. This is get your anger out, get rid of it. Doesn't have to be horsey. What's annoyed you? Who's got your back up? Ben keeps having a go at cyclists, our other co-host, and is getting quite a lot of flack online, and it's endlessly entertaining.
I haven't had much to annoy me, but I'm happy to say something this morning that actually annoyed me.
Tina, I'm looking forward to this already.
Yeah, I mean, it is horsey, but that's because we're back to a bit of normality after the lovely 5 days away when nothing annoyed me, apart from being a little bit poorly the first morning. But this morning I picked Enzo up, and whilst I was there, I tried something that I've been meaning to change for quite a while, basically ever since having Enzo. And I am a creature of habit. I don't like change. I very much understand the importance of having different things for different horses. Sorry if this sounds a bit cryptic. But I'm annoyed at myself now for not doing this change sooner. Because when I first got Enzo, I was advised that my saddle is okay on him. I have been trying a slightly different fit. Obviously, he was quite young, so and again, I've read a bit on the Be Prepared hub about saddle fit and saddles, which has helped informed my decision for this morning. But yeah, I'm just annoyed that I didn't make this change sooner, because this morning I found a much better fitting saddle for my young horse. And the difference in sitting on his back and jumping a jump just feels phenomenal. And I wish that I'd discovered that and not been such a creature of habit and been scared of change 18 months ago. And that's a long time. Like, he's thankfully nothing like Banksy, and that Banksy will let you know straight away if he's unhappy with something.
Banksy's really sensitive, isn't he, to saddle change?
So sensitive, which is why I've been scared and not wanted to change away from what I'm used to. But I'm very annoyed at myself now, having the feel that I felt on Enzo this morning, and knowing how much more in balance and confident and competent I could have felt on him with this being much more right for us is amazing. And I just wish I'd done it sooner and been braver and not just been a creature of habit.
So you're annoyed at yourself?
I'm annoyed at. Yeah. Has anybody ever been annoyed at themselves?
All the time, daily. The moment I wake up, I'm
well, yeah, but I mean on your podcast.
Yeah.
I bet most of your podcast ones they're annoyed at somebody else.
Rosie, what have you been annoyed at?
I'm training to do a swimming marathon, well, not marathon, 6.5K swim. And I was doing 4Ks the other day in the Buckland Lake. And this one bloke kept swimming crooked and swimming over the top of me. And at one point,
really
I had
annoying.
swim rage. So I grabbed hold of his ankle, pulled him back and said, because, you're trying to swim a long way. So you try to swim straight and then straight and then straight and straight and straight around a big square. He did it twice. And on the second time,
he was going to get it.
He was going to get
it. I tell you what, you don't mess with Rosie Williams.
I'm a real softie, to be honest. But,
when you just
come on, mate. I'm trying to get my training in. I don't need you to swim over the top of me twice.
Well, that would anger me, to be honest, as well.
Good on you. Go on, Jenny.
Do you know what? I'm the only thing I'm annoyed about is I'm moving house at the moment. Isn't it just bloody stressful? And every time I pack something or tidy something, my kids then unpack it or move it, or it's like brushing my teeth with Oreo biscuits. It's just, it's just stress. It's very
Leave it all
annoying.
in boxes and then just only unpack it when you need it.
Is that you talking about my children or my stuff?
I'll let you answer that question.
Yeah, it's my style of parenting there, Rosie. Yes, so that is stressing me out beyond belief. And the most annoying thing is, it doesn't matter how many rolls of packing tape I have, I can never bloody find them. I found them in the toilet the other day. It's like, what the hell did I do leaving them in the toilet? I just cannot. I'm losing my mind. Absolutely losing my mind.
Isn't moving house supposed to be the most stressful thing you can do in your life? Pretty much.
No.
Recording podcasts with you, Simon Grieve, on a weekly basis. No, I'm joking.
I'm sure it's somewhere it states that it's the most stressful
I heard
thing
it was getting married, moving house, and getting divorced. Those were the three most stressful things. Anyway, yeah, that's annoyed me, not knowing where there's not enough estrogen in the world that can help me find my packing tape, put it that way. Simon, what's annoyed you, my love?
So before the hen do, I went out because I had to leave early, so I was there for 2 days, and it was in Corfu, and I was like, I'm not traveling all the way out to Corfu just for 2 days, so I decided to go a couple of days early, and I had a really lovely time. completely on my own, and I stayed in this really lovely hotel, and they had some nice sun lounges, a couple of really nice pools right by the sea. It was fabulous. I had such a lovely time. I really missed James, but it was really nice spending some time with myself. Anyway, and I really enjoy people watching. And so I was kind of on my the double sun lounges with the one on my own, and there was this, and I what I noticed was how horrible couples are to each other.
Aww.
Like there was one. I was kind of sat directly next to this couple, relatively young. Like there must have been mid-20s, maybe early 20s, and the girl was very kind of like forthright about everything, and the lad was trying really, really hard. And she was like, "Can you give me my phone?" So he went to hand her his phone. So he went to hand her her own phone, and she put her hand out to get it at the same time and knocked it and broke a nail. And she was like, "You did that on purpose." And he was like, and I was thinking to myself, how the hell did you do that on purpose? Like, who breaks someone's nail like that? And she just wouldn't let it go. And it got to the point where I nearly said something. I was like, "Love, honestly, he really didn't mean to do that."
Love.
You guys are on holiday, enjoying yourselves.
Yeah. Love.
Should we just calm down?
Rocking up to them in your
that
Speedos.
kind of annoyed me. I was like, "Come on, guys, we're on holiday. Let's be nice to each other. Chill out."
Aw, Simon, always thinking about others.
Thank you.
Right, you beautiful people. Rosie, thank you very much for coming on this
Thank
podcast.
you for having me. It's been great fun.
A very busy schedule. And yes, thank you for everything you're doing with British Eventing and Be Prepared. And Tina Wallace, I sent Simon a message saying, I've known you a very long time now. You are looking absolutely glorious at the moment, my love. I like those pictures of you. I know that you've had some life changes recently, and I'm sure we'll get you on again to talk about some stuff. But I've honestly, you look so happy and wonderful and beautiful, and I just wanted to tell you in person,
absolutely glowing.
No. Simon and I had a little side chat, and I was like, "Bloody hell, she looks amazing." So,
thank you.
It's just
There
lovely.
was one moment when we were on a road with the railings with backing onto the sea, and Tina was just sat there to kind of like leaning against the railing, kind of on her own. I was just like, "Oh, she looks hot, man, hot."
In
I
the
don't mean
sparkles.
temperature.
Aw, thanks.
And thank you for coming on the podcast. Will you come on again?
100%, yeah. Keen.
Excellent.
You know I love to talk.
But Rosie, by failing to prepare, you are preparing to fail. That was the quote I was after.
That's
it. Well
It's
done.
rather than
well
a piss poor performance.
That is it. And the other one, the will to win is not nearly as important as the will to prepare to win.
Exactly.
Look at that. So, please do go and check out Be Prepared for British Eventing, guys. There's just so much on there that will make your horse have a happier life. And then you will be inspired to get out there and go eventing. Because as an eventer myself, if this is one thing I'm missing from my life here in Canada, I've had to go and hike some stupid mountains to make up for it. But I really miss it. I miss that buzz. I miss cheering as I gallop through the water, and the camaraderie and the well-deserved glass of wine at the end of the day, and just being in the lorry park and everyone chatting. And yeah, it is. And everybody in eventing wants you to succeed. I know there is a competition, but that is so secondary for me, I think. Isn't it? Everyone just wants to have a good time, and the competition element is in secondary. It's about having fun and loving it. And I hope we can, through this podcast, maybe inspire people to just go and have a go. And there's so many different membership options we haven't even touched on now, Rosie, which is so great for people getting into it.
Cool. We love it.
And it's a fabulous community to be a part of.
It really is. It really is.
And Rosie, good luck with your swim.
Thanks.
Let us know how you get on.
It's called the boomerang.
It's called a what?
It's called the boomerang. It's
the boomerang.
Bentham boomerang. It's
all right.
6.5 Ks, and I'm hoping I make it.
Sounds awful.
Good luck. It's okay. I'll be elbowing people out of the way. Don't you worry.
Or grabbing them by the ankle and yanking them out of the way.
Yeah.
Well, Tina, I'm going to say all that's left to say to you is shut up and ride, and say to you is shut up and swim. Thank you very much, guys, for being on the podcast.